philosophy, the love of wisdom, the search for meaning in life, for a purpose, and for a fulfilled, full human life, was never supposed to be anything theoretical. We made it that way. It was always, for the ancients at least, it was a way of life, something that was practiced every day and as much of the day as possible. There are many, and some of the most well-known and remarkable philosophers of ancient times were people who never wrote anything. Socrates, most famously, we could say, it's not that his writings did not survive. He never wrote anything in the first place. What he would do, as recorded in Plato's work, at least of Socrates as a character, was that he would go around town, engaging with people, talking to them, and in Socrates' particular style, he would interrogate them. And he would be happy when he found that either himself or the person or both did not know what they were talking about, that they realized that they lacked something. Because once we know that we're in conflict, once we know that we lack something, we look to change that, we look to fix that problem. And that's exactly what philosophy for the ancients, for the proper philosophers back in ancient times, that's what it was. A philosopher was not necessarily someone who taught or who wrote anything, but someone who distinguished themselves by their way of living. And that way of living simply cannot come about with reading a few books every now and then, and to engage in what we now call the academic type of philosophical questioning and teaching, and all the arguments and discussions and sort of conflicts that it involves. That's not what it was about at all, and that's not what it has to be about now. Philosophy, in its correct, proper, purest form, should be something that helps us transcend the daily life, transcend the profane life, if you will, away from our sort of animalistic problems and desires of daily routine, normal life, to make us take flight each and every day, even if it's just for a very short time, to go above, again, the daily, regular, profane, ordinary life, and to see all of the universe at once, to look above all of that, and to think about greater things, the highest ideals, and the highest ideas. And the way we do that, just like Socrates did, just like Epictetus did, just like each and every philosopher, if they practiced it as a way of life, did, we need to do it as discourse, as spiritual exercises. And when I say spiritual, I don't mean any kind of magical stuff. I mean spiritual as in intellectual. The intellect engaging with moral ideas. Again, the way we do that is with discourse. And we don't need to have a Socrates. We don't need to have some big philosopher who has all the answers. We have ourselves. So that is why I'm starting what I call a book club like no other. Because what we're going to do is read Seneca's letters on ethics that he wrote to his friend, and which encompass a wide variety of not just simple ethical questions, but really the entire core of what philosophy as a life, what a meaningful life, what a purposeful life is. And it gets us to think about a lot of these issues, and even shows us how to start believing in them in order to be able to practice them and really gain an advantage from them, not only in daily life, but as the person that we want to become. So the way I think we can do this is each week we can read one of the letters. And what I would like you to do, and I will do this along with you, is that you critically respond to each and every single letter. But, and this is extremely important, please do not look at the lessons that and ideas that Seneca is trying to get you to think about, and then go and apply them to your regular, ordinary daily life. Don't take some advice or some idea that he's writing about and then try to apply it to some problem you're having at work, or some problem with a relationship, or some, a financial new advantage you've gained, or some upturn that you've had economically, or anything like that. Don't apply it to neither so-called good or bad daily ordinary situations, but keep high up where Seneca is trying to take you. Remain in that higher sphere of having transcended daily life, and deal with those highest ideas and ideals that Seneca is talking about. And also, don't get stuck in a certain form, and don't get stuck trying to talk about exactly what Seneca is talking about. There might be one single sentence in there that simply brings up an idea where you might say, you know what, I thought I was exactly thinking about this issue, and I've forgotten it long ago, and this reminded me of that. And just go off on a tangent and write about it. And that's what I would like you to do. Each letter, after reading it, get yourself a journal and start writing about it. Name it whatever letter it is, letter 14, and just write about almost stream of consciousness. Do not edit, do not worry about, and I would encourage you to do this with pen on paper, because with pen on paper, you write slowly and with a lot of consideration. Often when we type on computers, etc., we can almost write quicker than we can think. And especially with something like this, you don't want to write quicker than you can think, and you're going to be thinking very, very slowly, and that's exactly a very good thing. So I would encourage you to do it with pen and paper, like I said, and to not at all worry about neatness or spelling or anything like that. And you can cross things out, and just, it's a fantastic practice if you do it the right way. Like I said, if you remain in that higher sphere of ideas, if you don't come back down to ordinary life and try to apply it in that realm, stay up in that realm, and I promise you, what this will enable you to do, you won't realize it maybe before or during, but afterwards at some point you will see how you were not thinking about a single worry of yours. Not a single thing, not a single problem existed. Time didn't exist. Sometimes when I do this, I finish and I realize an hour's passed, and I've barely written a page or two, but I was thinking so much. And that's exactly what it gets you to do. The important part here is that we think about whatever, and Seneca is very good at bringing up these ideas that are the very core of philosophy and morals and Stoicism in his case, and really how to incorporate them into one's being. He's very good at talking about that. Now, when you take that motivation and that impetus to think about these things, and you apply it with your own language, with your own thoughts, onto the page, it's really magical. And the aim here should be to convince yourself of the ideas and arguments that Seneca brings forth. That's the main objective. As Epictetus says, who better to convince you than you? And that's exactly what this is about, to take it from the theoretical form and to put it into practice with the arguments and way of argumentation that works best for you by you. That's how we incorporate these ideas into our being. That's how we incorporate them into our daily life. And that's exactly how we shift our mindset from all the things that are holding us back, that we think are holding us back. It's really just ourselves. And to realize where we're lacking, where we're doing well, and to either strengthen what we've already been doing correctly or to completely get rid of what we've been doing wrong and establish something else in its place. And this is a continual process, and you will realize the sort of one-liners that you'll even get from this, very impressive quotes that are completely from your own mind because it occurred to you in the moment, and because you already had pen and paper in hand, you are able to write it down immediately. And that one sentence that you'll get every now and then, a sort of impressive quote, will bring forth not only everything that you've been thinking about, but exactly what Seneca's been telling you. And you'll realize that now, all of a sudden, you're living these ideas instead of just reading about them or to have a few Marcus Aurelius quotes in your pocket to impress your friends. No, you have been implementing the way of life of a philosopher. And there's really hardly anything better than that when it comes to finding meaning in life, finding purpose in life, and to adopt the very tools that are needed for that kind of life. And the way we'll do this, now coming back to practical terms, if you can, please buy this exact copy of Seneca's Letters. I am in no way connected or affiliated with this. It has nothing to do with that. This is the only complete translation that I know of quality. It's from the Chicago Press. And you'll see it has this blue cover. The University of Chicago Press has other works by Seneca, but I think this is the only one with a blue cover, and you'll see it says Letters on Ethics, and that's exactly the one we want. If you cannot afford this copy, Penguin makes a cheaper one. I think it's mainly cheaper because it's only a selection of letters. It includes a good amount of them, but it's not complete. Alternatively, I'm not sure. I'm still looking for a good resource that has the complete works, the complete letters of Seneca, and that's somehow free, accessible. I figured that there might be a very old translation that is now out of copyright. That way it could be free, because even though these are Seneca's words and they're thousands of years old and of course out of copyright, the translation of them is what's copyrighted naturally. That's someone's work. So we need to find one that is maybe an old translation, like I said, out of copyright and thereby free to use and somehow digitally available online. If I ever find that, I will put it in the description below. For now, I don't have the perfect resource to direct you to. But this is a bit of an investment, like I said, but it's well worth it. You will read this, in my opinion, many times in your life, if not continually. So, and this exercise alone, I think, makes it worth it. And you're going to get years of work out of this writing about letters, especially if you're doing it only once a week, like we will be doing. And the way we could structure this, I thought, is I will send out, by the way, this is my way of saying that I'm also creating a newsletter. The newsletter will have the latest video of that week, so you can't miss it. It will have the latest installment of the Seneca Letters Book Club program. And I will share with you my own writings on each of Seneca's letters. So that's what will be included in the newsletter. You don't have to share anything with anyone. They should be private. They should be personal. I will show you how I approach it, how I write it, and what I get from it. And maybe that will be another impetus, another way of looking at it, give you another angle on how you might approach your own writing and what would work best for you. I think it will also have a quote of the week and some reading recommendations. Those might come out monthly. And whatever else I want to put there. I'm thinking of also making an audio version of these books, because a lot of people have told me they would rather just listen to them when they're in the car or whatever. And that way it's all in one package: the video, the audio, the Seneca letters, the quotes, the reading recommendations, and whatever else is going on that week I can put in there. To do this, I've also created a website. It's called acceptingtheuniverse.com. On there, you can sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter and every single thing that's on there is completely free. I have never, am not, and will never charge for any of the things I'm doing, period. It will always be free. You can sign up for the newsletter there and get everything I've just discussed. Next to it is also finally a contribution button for those who've been asking. You can contribute to everything I do that way. Please make sure to read the important reminders before that. This is not in any way an emergency situation. I'm not urging you in any way to contribute, otherwise all this will go away or anything like that. None of that. And I don't want you to take it away from charitable organizations or causes that you've been donating to. Those need to remain intact if you want to contribute in this way to the channel. And I also don't want it to be a burden for you. So only if you can afford it, and whatever you can afford, you can contribute, only as a show of thanks and to encourage these kind of new ways of doing things and more varied and more ambitious content. It's a way to encourage that, and that's all it is. And I really appreciate it if you do, but if you don't, like I said, every single thing is free. You don't have to pay for anything to access it. So yeah, please go to the website just to sign up for the newsletter. And I'm thinking I will publish the first ever newsletter this Sunday. So today is a Wednesday when the video comes out. On Sunday, I will send out the first newsletter, give you enough time to sign up, get the book, etc. And then we'll start with that. I'm very excited about this. I think this will have an immense impact on your life. And I can honestly say that this has been the biggest tool that I've ever found to really bring philosophy alive and to make it a practice. And the biggest reason why I myself started doing that was Pierre Hadot. He's sort of responsible for really reminding us and rejuvenating the whole idea of philosophy as a way of life. And I know no one better who's done that more recently. He only died in the 2010s, 2011 maybe. And especially in this book, Philosophy as a Way of Life, I cannot recommend it enough. If you want to understand how philosophy used to be practiced, how it was a way of life rather than the theoretical, rather scientific and almost mathematical pursuit of philosophy that we have now, at least in universities and colleges and so on. There's nothing better than that. And to really understand what this book club is about, what these Seneca letters, how you should approach them, in case I didn't explain it quite well enough, he will do a much better job for you. So I encourage you to get that book as well. Really, anything by Pierre Hadot is great. All right, I think that covers it all. I'm looking forward to your responses after the first few weeks of doing this, what an impact it had on your life and what it's doing for you. Like I said, I think it will be game-changing and life-changing, and I'm looking forward to it.